Hi everybody. This video is Kubo Robot Tips for Educators. My name is Stephanie Jones. I'm a science technology teacher with the Lowell Public Schools. And here we go. So this is Kubo. It's a very cute small robot. My K through 4 students had the opportunity of working with Kubo for multiple weeks at the end of this school year. And so that's why I'm creating these videos so that I can share some of the basics about using Kubo, as well as maybe some tips for educators when you get the opportunity to work with this robot. So it's a very easy setup. You're going to attach the head to the body very gently to turn the robot on. We learned the very hard way that if you're a little rough with parts of the, when attaching the head to the body, there can be a little bit of superficial damage to some of the connecting pieces. So one of the things that I focus on when I'm teaching my students how to turn the robot on is to apply the head gently as much as they can. So you can share with students that it is a magnet inside that will either push or pull depending on which way the head is facing, which is a great opportunity to discuss how magnets can attract and repel. And that was something that we discussed over the week. So once the robot's head is on, it's ready to go. And so I have a quick little video right here showing you that if you have it in the correct direction, the head will quickly reattach, and then you're going to have Kubo actually light up. First green, powering up, makes a little sound, and then eventually blue, which blue means that the robot is ready to code. All right. So when you're setting up, not in addition to turning the robot on, you're going to need a flat space for your students to work on, preferably not on the ground, as the tiles have a sticky back that will pick up dirt. And again, we found out the hard way. The rubbery backing is great for making sure that the tiles do not slide around. But again, if you have the tiles on the floor, they might be picking up more dirt and material than you'd like, and it's not the easiest thing to clean. So I'd recommend using your tiles and Kubo materials on a table. And so the puzzle map is a large space that students can use to drive Kubo around, to build stories using Kubo. And so one of the things that I show my students is how to put that puzzle together. The nice thing is it has an X and Y axis, letters on the bottom and numbers on the side. So if the puzzle pieces were a little mixed up, I'd remind the students about, checking to make sure their ABCs were in order or their numbers were in order, sequential order. So here are the directional tiles. So Kubo reads the tiles in a sequence. On the back of each or inside each tile is actually a small microchip, a little computer chip that Kubo is reading. And so that's why you don't have to necessarily you don't have to be plugged into a computer to use Kubo, which is a really great resource because a lot of times when you're using robotics, you're dependent upon connection to a laptop or a computer of some sort. But this is, Kubo can be used all by itself, which is great. So students will need to learn how what the directional tiles represent and how to attach them. And we spent quite a bit of time on that. And even with review, though, you're going to probably need to go back over which tiles mean which direction. Because like I said, as we went through weeks of practice and working with Kubo, we still had students that would use a move forward to represent a turn. And of course, Kubo would not turn. So we would have to go back over, well, green means move forward, blue turn right, and orange turn left. But that's something simple that you can post on a board, or you could even have a printout for students as a reminder. But that's definitely something you're probably going to revisit numerous times. And so here is a quick video for you on the general setup. And I'm just going to speed it up a little bit for you. There we go. So you've got 4 pieces for the large puzzle map. Then you've got Kubo's head and body. And if you do have the head turned in the direction that the magnet's going to repel, you just won't be able to push the head on. So it's nice because students will learn to turn the head to attach it correctly. And then you're going to build your sequence with the tiles, put Kubo right on top, Kubo reads, and then moves forward based on your sequence. So some of the exploration challenges. So for K-4 students, you can do so much with Kubo. The very first thing we started off with was free exploration. It's a great way to introduce students to Kubo. It's opportunities to troubleshoot, problem solve, debug. Lots that can happen with free exploration. And it was pretty fun to see what students would come up with while working with a partner. Most of my students worked with partners for the first few times that we worked with Kubo, eventually working individually if it was a choice when given. And it was pretty cool to see what students would do to help each other if they did encounter a problem, or even creating stories and challenges for each other. And that was naturally which way we went after free exploration, which was creating and completing challenges. I initially created 4 challenges for them, from them to go from one location to another. You could build so many different challenges and even have the students come up with challenges for each other. And so this was something that the class all worked on at the same time. As they made progress through their sequences, then they would move on to the next challenge. But it's great to work on various coding concepts, and it's also a great way to ensure whether or not they're understanding the directional tiles and how to use them, because it's very obvious which students are still struggling with the concept of left and right turns when you have them trying to complete a challenge and Kubo keeps moving forward and never really makes it to that other location. So it's a great way to check in with students. So some tips for educators that I have after working with the Kubo robots for about 8 weeks is definitely encourage your students to explore with the directional tiles. Let them explore, let them make mistakes, let them see what's going to work and what's not going to work. And I did this with K-4 students. And depending on students' previous experience with coding, you could see some of them would be able to debug a little bit quicker than others, and that's okay. It was a lot of fun watching how students kindergarten through 4th grade responded to Kubo and the challenges. Students will tend to look for answers from the teachers and possibly give up quickly. Sometimes I had students that were no longer interested in Kubo because the answers weren't coming easily. So there was a lot of, going back and revisiting some of our basic coding concepts, working on problem solving. How do we address these problems and not give up and persevere when it's not that easy? And we made a lot of progress. So definitely, help your kids see the value in, making mistakes and trying over and over again and growing from there. Students should have the opportunity to naturally find their way around and build their stamina and perseverance while coding, even if they're not necessarily using a computer or a robot that is paired to a computer. There is still plenty of opportunities for stamina and perseverance building while working with Kubo. If anything, it's a really great way to understand sequencing and debugging, no matter the child's age. So coding concepts, the great thing about Kubo is you can start off very simple and then you can get really complex. There are tiles for building functions, subroutines, loops. There's even tiles to speed Kubo up, slow Kubo down, change degree of turn. So the great thing about the coding is it does not always have to be so simple. It can get more complex when your students are ready for that. And if you'd like more information on Kubo, the Lowell Public Schools Instructional Technology Corner has some resources. They're going to be building more resources in the future. And then Kubo Robotics has a platform and they have a portal with tons of resources, including videos that my students and I used as well. So please explore those resources. It's well worth your time. I hope this video was helpful, and I hope that you all enjoy working with Kubo and coding with your students. Thanks for your time.